So as dusk begins to fall this evening in Srinagar, the fact that a ceasefire has now come into effect since 1700 hours, gives a sense of what is happening at this moment, because it is the people who are living at the line of control who are the worst affected in the flare-up of violence between India and Pakistan.
Well, absolutely, Saleh. There is a sigh of relief among the people of Jammu and Kashmir, especially the ones who live very close to the line of control. Last 2 days, we've seen people did not venture out of their homes. They stayed inside. And just after the ceasefire was announced, the people are back on the roads. I'd like my cameraman to pan and show you exactly what is the scene right now in Srinagar, where you can see people finally coming out on the roads. The shops have suddenly opened again, and the people who were for 2 days just inside their houses have started slowly coming out as well. It's a big relief for the people who live close to the line of control as well as international border. We've seen around 22 people died in the ceasefire violations in the last few days in Poonch, Rajouri as well as in the northern part of Kashmir. Around 60 people were injured who are still being treated at the hospitals across Jammu and Kashmir. So this is a big relief for those people actually, because they have to live through it. They have to face the consequences of it. Properties worth crores have been damaged all over northern part of Kashmir, whether it's Kupwara, Baramulla, Udi. For that matter, we saw ceasefire violation in Gurez sector today as well. On the other hand, we also saw ceasefire violation in Poonch, Rajouri and other parts of Kashmir Valley. So this is a big relief for those people who live close to the line of control. They have lost their houses. A lot of them have lost their properties, houses, cattle in the last few days. They will have to rebuild it again. But at least there is a sigh of relief that there is peace finally returning to Kashmir Valley, especially to the areas which are very close to the line of control and international border.
Absolutely, indeed, Idris. We see that some of the people are out on the streets. Now, considering the kind of tensions that have prevailed and considering the kind of blackouts that have been witnessed over the course of the last 3-4 days, at this moment, it's time for the people along the line of control to pick up the pieces. The ceasefire violations and a hot conflict between India and Pakistan affects the people, along the line of control and the people in the Kashmir Valley the most. So give us a sense of what the expectation of the people, the local people, is there of how this conflict needs to be resolved.
Well, Saleh, if we talk about the people especially living close to the line of control and international border, let me tell you, when the agreement between the Pakistan and India, the ceasefire agreement was renewed in 2021, after that time we did see peace returning to a line of control. Otherwise, it used to be hell living very close to the line of control for at least a decade. There would be ceasefire violations every second day, and they would not only attack the army installations but also the civilian population, and that was the case for decades. But after the agreement was renewed in 2021, we saw that there was finally peace returning to Kashmir Valley on the line of control as well as international border. On the other hand, when the Pahalgam attack happened, right after that, the ceasefire violations started again. It was every single night from the last 15 consecutive nights, we've seen massive shelling going on from the Pakistani side. And it was back to that decade where what people were facing at that point of time. And it was a terrible, difficult time for the people who live close to the line of control. As I said, around 22 people have died in the last few days in this ceasefire shelling. And on the other hand, 60 people were injured, who are still being treated. Houses completely destroyed, burned down by the shelling that has taken place in the last few days. They've lost their farms, they've lost their cattle. That is what their livelihood basically is. And this has been a nightmare for those people living close to the line of control. Not only if we talk about the line of control and the international border, but even people living in cities. We did see the drone attack taking place in Jammu, where people after that have hardly come out of their homes. There is a lot of panic that people witnessed in the last
Right.
48 hours across Jammu and Kashmir. Srinagar also last night we saw how the drone attack took place, missile attack took place, and in the early morning at around 5:45 we saw those 3 big blasts taking place in Srinagar as well. So it has been a big relief that finally ceasefire has been announced between the two countries, and people in Jammu and Kashmir can breathe finally a sigh of relief for them.
Indeed, that of course is the big story at this moment. There is the people along the line of control, the people in the Kashmir Valley and also in all those regions who'd been affected because this flare-up of tensions can of course now breathe a sigh of relief. This is a huge moment. My colleague Molly Gambhir of course joins me in the studio. Molly, this is big. The fact that the way things were just escalating, it did appear that things could just go out of hand considering what had been happening for the last 48 hours. But the fact that the two nations have now come together, Pakistan seems to have seen some sense where the Pakistani foreign minister now says that Pakistan does not want war, clearly contradicting the defense minister from what he had said last night. It now remains to be seen as to how things, of course, proceed from here. But what is clear is that the terms of engagement on terror attacks, that seems to have changed. And this could be a new normal that we're now looking at, considering the fact that India has made it pretty clear that any act of terror by the Pakistanis in future will be seen as an act of war.